Welcome to Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host,
Charlie Seymour.
and I'm Tim Sternberg. Hit it, Nick. Welcome back, everyone, to another awesome week of Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a good week. I'm excited for talking about some reality TV and some baseball and some interesting trade or not trade transactions, but transactions that have taken place. I want to talk about all that fun stuff, but I think I would be remiss if we did not mention the passing yesterday of the Say Hey Kid, the great Willie Mays. I was
One of the
even
greatest of all time.
absolutely 100% agree. And I was like, you texted me because you were the newsbreaker for me, and I was like, what? Even though he's 93 years old, it's still like, oh, I remember when Hank Aaron died. I had the same feeling a couple of years ago in 2020, I think. It's rough when your hero Tom Seaver too in 2020 when your heroes die.
Yeah. And he was the greatest living remaining baseball player. And it's funny, it's ironic, do you know who most people would say is now the reigning best alive MLB player?
Alive?
It's kind of a controversial player.
Who?
Barry Bonds.
Really?
He would be the highest remaining by a significant
Well, he is a
margin.
controversial player, period, because of the whole steroid era.
Right, exactly.
I shared with you two pictures, which I found fascinating, of Willie Mays with two generations of people. So the first picture was Willie Mays with Ty Cobb, the late great Ty Cobb. And the
Yeah, and
second picture,
he's only like a toddler in the picture, right? He's like
yeah,
10, 9.
no, that was Barry Bonds. That's the second picture
The
with Willie
second
Mays.
one is Bonds.
Yeah. But the first one, think about this. Ty Cobb played in the early 1900s and into with Willie Mays, who played in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. He ended his, I must say, Willie Mays, the great New York Giant, San Francisco Giant, ended his career with the 1973 National League champion New York Mets. So there we go. That's the picture I have behind me over there.
He played 2 seasons for the Mets.
He did 72 and 73. 73 season, he was with Tom Seaver, and they went to the National League Championship. They lost in the World Series to the Oakland Athletics, Reggie Jackson and the Oakland A's, which was a powerful team. But they almost repeated the magic, which was amazing considering they had just lost a year before Gil Hodges and actually spring training before, who was their great manager. But anyway, I digress. But so that first picture was with the late great Ty Cobb, and then Willie Mays, and then the new generation of Barry Bonds, who was, as you said, basically a kid in the picture. So the span of players that Willie Mays touched. So basically encompassing the history of baseball as we know it in this country. Would you agree?
He's just one of the best. Like, even me being younger, when you're a kid, you're playing baseball, whatever. One of the things you replicate is his famous over the shoulder basket catch. Like,
oh my God.
it's one of my favorite baseball movies. Major League has a reference to it. Willie Mays Hayes, run like Hayes, hit like Mays, and then there's a joke after he doesn't hit like Mays at all. But I mean, he was one of the greatest to do it. I mean, looking at his baseball reference is ridiculous. I don't know if you know about baseball reference like right off the top of your head. But
I do not like you.
But when you look at players' stats across the board, it has every category in their stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then for anything that they were the league leader in, so first in everything is bold. Half his damn sheet is bold. It's ridiculous how much bold he has. Like, And it's not just one category. He's been bowled twice in runs. He's been bowled in triples, home runs multiple times, stolen bases multiple times, batting average, OBP, slugging, OPS plus, total bases. You name it, he's got bowled in his category. So
Unbelievable. And there's a reason why I think at least three teams have retired his number so far. I think the Giants, the Mets, I don't know what the third team was, but I know the Mets and the Giants have retired his number. There's a reason for that because it's Willie Mays. He's to say, hey, kid, he lived a nice long life at 93. We unfortunately did not get that long life from the late great Jackie Robinson, who died really relatively young. He had diabetes. He died, I believe, in the year I was born or the year after, in 1972. And so Willie was it. Hank Aaron was it too. Willie Mays was it. I mean, we lost Hank Aaron a couple of years ago, but 93 years of a baseball legend, what a gift, right? And as you said, the one and only. There's only ever going to be one Willie Mays.
yeah, what a career he had. 660 home runs.
Wow.
Career 940 OPS, which is monster, especially in a dead ball era. I mean,
what year was he elected to the Hall of Fame? I think
well, he retired in 73, so I'd say the minimum, probably 78, right?
78, around that time. I think his percentage was something like 90 something percent that he got in. But yeah.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, 2-time MVP, 24-time All-Star, 12-time Gold Glove, 2-time All-Star MVP, Major League Player of the Year, won a batting title, World Series, and a Rookie of the Year.
So there was a clip. I don't know if you've seen it. It was a 1981 alt. I think you might have sent it to me, an old timers game at Shea Stadium where he made this amazing catch
when he was like 53 years old or something.
He was like 53 years old, and here he is, like making this amazing catch. And I just saw, I collect, I do art, and in 2020 the big push was like Project 2020, which Topps did this whole. If you don't know, I like Topps. If Topps did this whole thing on art cards. And one of the artists in Project 70, which came after, was Lauren Taylor, who I collect. And Lauren actually posted a video a couple of years ago where she got to meet Willie Mays. And there's a very few times I get jealous of things, and that was definitely one of them. He just legend is him. And I like that. There was a couple of ironies that happened. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I like the fact that, Major League Baseball is giving him his proper due that I've seen in social media.
Yeah. And the Cubs gave him a moment of silence today, and the broadcast talked about it, and they had the flags that were at half,
which is so important.
He's a legend.
I think he's a legend. I mean, but I think when you talk about baseball and you talk about giving proper due, that has not always been the case, as you know. I mean, for many years, the Negro League players, like a Josh Gibson, for example, was not recognized. Their stats were not recognized by Major League Baseball. Just this year, we're starting to see that Major League Baseball's finally doing, and of course, Josh Gibson will lead in many categories. It just shows what a legacy the black ball players have had on American baseball, that they have not had the opportunity that the white baseball players have had in the past. But I'm glad that MLB is finally recognizing that. And now, of course, with the big Rickwood Field game that's coming up, which is ironic because that's where Willie Mays played.
They, for the first time ever, they took his plaque out of the Hall of Fame, and it's at Rickwood Field for people to see it.
Oh my God. That just gave me goosebumps. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
So they're doing a good job with that.
I told you, I don't think anything is a coincidence. I think everything is purposeful that happens. And how crazy, right? So we're in a week where we're celebrating this rebirth of this wonderful field. There's going to be a Major League Baseball game there on Thursday, or today if you're listening. And here we are, Willie Mays plaque from the Hall of Fame. Starting to see some good changes going on, and I think it's long overdue. Unfortunately, many players are no longer with us, so they're not able to see this, but their families get to relish in this, and that's a wonderful thing.
And they played a minor league game at Rickwood
They
yesterday.
did. How was that? What I didn't see what the
It
stats
was
were.
it was the Biscuits, one of the Rays affiliates played in
The
it.
Biscuits.
I saw a picture on social media. Someone from who is in one of the I think the Cubs season ticket group was there, and so was Dexter Fowler and CC Sabathia, and he got a picture
Oh,
with
that's
Dexter Fowler,
awesome.
and that's why he was sharing the
I
picture.
love that. I love that. Kudos. I mean, listen, us fans, right? We give Rob Manfred enough grief, and he deserves it, to be honest with you. This is some good stuff going on. So kudos to him for doing that. Definitely.
And
All right.
as you mentioned, Willie at the end of his career, he played for the Mets.
Yes, he did.
Speaking of the Mets, um, can you? I don't know if you can. If you're not watching, I'm holding up a 0. Tim, this is how many times the Mets have lost
Since when?
since we recorded last. It's been
Oh, is
more than
that
a
right?
week. It's been more than a full week, and they've lost 0 times. How do
Is
you
that
feel? How
right?
do you feel about your team now that that just took place?
So, is it have something to do with this guy?
Are, are are you guys still dead in the water? Season's over. Trade
Is it
everybody.
this? Is it this guy, Grimace?
Grimace. It's Grimace.
Um,
It's 100% Grimace.
you listen.
Mets fans should be writing him into on their All-Star ballots. Push for
You
Grimace.
you love to rub that stuff in. The facts, the facts, the facts. You love to rub that stuff in,
But
and
that's a good thing for you because that means that the Mets are
hey,
doing well.
exactly. Listen, I'll take it. If the Mets are gonna beat the Cubs this weekend, if the Mets are gonna,
I don't think the Mets are going to lose another game the rest of the season.
I'm sorry.
I
That's-
I mean, it's the Grimace effect.
Did you see McDonald's is now on it? They're like, Mets, let's go, or something
I
like that.
can't tell you.
The Twitter account
I'm
or
not
X.
even exaggerating when I swear at least 75% of my feed for the last 48 to 72 hours has been nothing but Grimace memes, and I'm here for it.
Oh, I know, because you've sent every single one of them to me.
There are too many good ones.
So good. It's so good. Yeah. I'm happy. I mean, listen, I can't complain. A number of things happened too. For example, Francisco Alvarez came back, and that was a huge deal.
Yeah,
They
the
DFA'd.
pitching numbers are so much better when
He
he's
is
healthy.
so good with that staff. I mean, he's
Yeah,
really good with them. He kind of tempers them. Diaz is doing better, which is really
and
good.
back and healthy, more
Back
importantly.
and healthy. They DFA Tomas Nido. Where did he go? I can't
Oh, the
remember.
Cubs picked him up.
Oh, that's right. The Cubs picked him up.
And just in time to play the Mets. You know what that usually happens when that happens. Just
What's
saying.
that?
Nino's
Oh,
probably going to hit a homer. That's what
You're,
all the Mets fans were saying on the
that's
post. We're
right.
like, we
Wait,
love
the
you,
Mets
Thomas. We love you. Please
don't
don't
hit
hit too many
over.
home runs. I saw one guy wrote, please just one solo homer. We know you're going to hit some. Just hit one
Oh
solo.
my god! The Mets are gonna Met though with that
No,
stuff. They
not.
always do.
This is the grimmest Mets, Tim.
Oh, that's true.
Do I have to remind you of what their record is? For those that don't know, the
0.
sensation that is Grimace, he threw out the first pitch at a Mets game, and all of a sudden fans went from we're the worst team in the world, trade everybody, I hate everything. They have yet to lose a single game since that moment. And they're right back in the middle of it, which means probably unless they have who's the reverse Grimace, the Hamburglar. Maybe the Cubs. If you're listening, bring the Hamburglar to Wrigley tomorrow.
That's
Throw
hilarious.
off the Mets juju, then they can start offsetting it just for the weekend. Then Grimace can come back to New York.
That's funny. Are you going to the games this weekend?
Yeah, we're going to at least one, maybe two.
Nice.
I just hope that just don't sweep us. All right. You guys, I'm on at the point where the Mets could, how Moneyball, they show the winning streak get to 20.
Yep.
This is Grimace. It's early. It's still very early, but you never know. They got the Cubs have won 2 in a row, but generally they've been playing kind of meh the last couple of weeks. So
Happers had some home runs.
Mets could easily, Hap's been really hot. The Mets could easily come through and continue. And if they do that, you're at double digits and you're halfway to the Moneyball streak.
You don't have to say to that. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Okay.
Perfect. That's perfect.
I,
It's perfect. You deserve it.
it's,
They've won 7 in a row. It's great.
and also since they came back from London, this is when really the streak happened. So
that double play leaving London. I wonder how
yeah,
different things would have been.
I'm telling you, there's something to say about um inertia, about the wave of something happening and getting the guys like
Yeah, they're
excited and
riding that momentum.
they're 100%. And I think, particularly my guy, Pete Alonso, really feeds off of that. I've noticed that with him. He feeds off of the energy in the room. And usually when he's in a slump, it's because the energy in the room isn't there. And usually when he's hot, red hot, it's because the team is red hot. So,
Well, they're scorching hot right now.
they are. I mean, who would have thought that? Well, I wouldn't have. A couple of months, but we'll bookmark this podcast episode, and we'll talk again in a couple of weeks, and we'll see where we are. I'm planning on coming to Chicago in August to see the Cubs beat the Cardinals, and we'll be both on the same side, so you don't have to worry about that. So
and that by then the trade deadline will have passed.
yeah,
so we'll have a lot of answers.
Oh. Well, if the Mets keep winning, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I cannot see Steve Cohen selling if the Mets keep winning. That would be the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Especially they're right in the middle of it now. So
yeah. Oh, so let's, I want to say this to our audience. I want to give you guys an apology. Those that were listening to our last episode, towards the beginning of the episode, I said, we're going to talk about the GOAT after the episode. So let me tell you guys, because I'm all about transparency, what occurred. So we wrapped up the episode last week. I said, hey, Charlie, have a great week, blah, blah, blah. And we ended the episode and Charlie says, weren't we supposed to talk about the GOAT? And I said, yes, we were. So I clicked record, but we talked for 20 minutes and it didn't record. So here we go again. We're gonna talk about the GOAT.
We'll just do both episodes.
We'll do both episodes. Let's go back 2 weeks. Ooh. So you, first of all, Charlie, you were spoiled by X, which wasn't nice. Honestly, I will tell you, when you told me,
I'm pretty good about avoiding it.
I kind of figured out who it was when you said. I'm like, oh, he seems a little bummed. So I'm like, oh, it has to be Wendell. That was eliminated. By the way, spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the episode 2 weeks ago,
that it got spoiled. But yeah, it was Wendell. Which
I did spoil something for you today. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but
oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'm usually
there was a little news on Traders came out. We won't talk about it. We won't spoil it here, but yeah. Yeah, you are. You're pretty, like, you kind of landmine maneuver around the spoilers, and not this time.
Not this time. I saw a picture and it said, "Who will win of the final 6?" And immediately I noticed Wendell was missing from the picture.
Is that so? At that point, do you go like, "What the hell? Like, what the hell?"
I was like, "No." But that's okay.
And Wendell was your guy. You like Wendell.
I do. And I did know they'd go for him, though, because he's playing a good game, and rightfully so. If they want to win the money, you got to take out the best players. So
I think personally, we'll talk about the next week's episode in a minute. So what did you think about that challenge that week?
I hated it.
Yeah. Why?
That was the disgusting food one.
Yeah.
And all sorts of things, and anything in that realm, as you know, is a pass for me.
Yeah,
so that was I could have done without that.
I was wondering about that. Some of the food items weren't so nasty.
It was just the sheer volume, like eating 3 whole hot dogs in 2 minutes.
What about the stick of butter?
He loved it. He wanted more.
He's a chef. He's eating a stick of butter. He's like, more, please.
He took that in like 3 bites.
That is not easy, because that's a lot of butter.
That's disgusting.
It's so gross. I wonder how many arteries that clogged.
I don't understand why they always need to do that, but it is what it is.
I think that a lot of the audience likes it. It makes it entertaining for them, and so yeah. I could have done without it too. I did. Survivor hasn't done that in a while, and I could always do without it. Big Brother has done that a couple of times.
The
Um,
challenge does it.
yeah, Challenge does it. And we're gonna get to. We're remind me so before I hit stop. We are gonna talk a little bit about Big Brother. Something came up this week, and you know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about that in a minute. Um, so the second week's challenge was. Do you remember? Because I don't.
Yeah, the second week was the one where they had to do weird things in like less time. Like Joe had to get the thing out with the crickets in there, and
Oh, was that also they were doing the model walk where they're gonna put the
yes,
book on their head and
yes,
yeah,
because technically they have two because someone wins,
yeah.
and so that was the second one where Devon won, where they had to put the mannequin, or no, they just had to balance a book on their head and then walk through, and they also had the mannequin one
Yeah, which
because
which
yeah, there were
was
four
very
total
funny.
in the two episodes.
Joe, it was a female mannequin, and Joe put a male mannequin together.
And then Tosh goes, Joe over there building Fabio.
Had the
That was
long
pretty
flurry
funny.
hair.
And then do you remember what he said when it cut to his like his in the he said, I know girl parts. And then he laughed. That was funny.
So Joe was in the bottom two. um, Davon won, and Davon, who did she put in the bottom? Oh, no, the person who came in last was in the Joe was in the bottom two from that, right? Or
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
okay. And the other
Because he
person
got last place.
and the other person
He couldn't balance the book on his head. Remember, he had a bump on his head so that he automatically got put up.
what?
Yeah. That was interesting.
I, I was when he said that I was like, really? There's a so
I
what'd you
mean, if you
think?
watched, he literally could not balance it.
He couldn't. He couldn't.
It was
I
pretty
don't
funny.
know. I don't know how much of it was I don't know. Like so you're telling me that they put together an episode or challenge that was basically impossible for him? That seems like it would be unfair.
I think that generally speaking, balancing a book on your head is something most people have at least attempted before in their life. They probably didn't even think twice about, hey, this person's got a bump on their head. They probably didn't vet all of their head shapes. It probably just kind of happened. Is my thought, but you never know.
You think they have to vet the head shapes?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they would make that fair or not, but
That's true.
it
I mean, I
didn't
don't
it
know.
didn't it didn't seem malicious to me.
I don't think it was. I don't think any of it is malicious. You can't do that maliciously because, quite frankly, it's supposed to be fair. So you can't have anything that's malicious, so to speak. So at the end of the episode, the person who gets eliminated was I'm trying to CJ, right?
Yeah, CJ.
Yeah, CJ was eliminated. Who CJ and Devon had a back and forth throughout the entire season. And basically, as CJ left, CJ called Devon out in front of everyone. Is you're gonna let this? She is the best, and you're gonna let her
You're
win,
gonna let
and
her
put a
win.
target right on her back. I think Devon already has a target on her back.
Yeah.
If anybody is smart. I don't think Jill Zarin's going to vote for her. I think, and a number of the players I think all of them think they have a final two with Davon.
Devon has a final two with
Yes.
everyone. They
So
showed that.
I think the person she's most loyal to is Jill. I think if she's going to take somebody, it would be Jill because honestly, Jill is a wealthy woman and doesn't need the money. And here's this I don't know if Davon, I think she's a single mom to have the money. And
I
I could
think
see
this
the
is
argument.
this is the week where if they want to get out Devon, they're gonna have to
They
do it.
have to, unless she wins. If she wins, then that's another story. But
Which she's won a lot,
she has.
and
I,
the
I'm rooting
competition's
for
getting
her.
weaker.
I'm rooting for her.
In starting from the last two episodes, from her perspective, she took out probably two of her biggest competitors in terms of winning things and challenges. CJ
She got rid
came
of
a close
Wendell.
second to her in both the catwalk thing and the other. I mean, she's been battling her, and now she got her and Wendell out in the last two. So now, if they don't get her out
Resume.
here, it's going to be tough to beat her.
We don't know for sure how the final goes, but I'm assuming it's similar to House of Villains or Survivor, where they're gonna have a vote off of some kind, or
Yeah.
um,
Or
I
the
I,
pe
I
yeah.
yeah, I think if Davon's not eliminated in this week's episode, yeah, she's pretty much clear to the end.
She's in the driver's
She
seat
and
right now.
Paola get into it. You see that in the
Oh yeah,
previews?
yeah.
Ooh, Paola. My mom warned me about Paola, so that should be interesting how that kind of.
There
And
should
by the
be some
way,
fireworks there.
other apologies to our viewers. I do notice how many times I say interesting, and I do notice how many times I say what was the other word I say
I
a
think you
lot
said
of?
like.
Yeah, like totally, like awesome, totally awesome. So I do notice that. So I'm trying. I should one episode, if I really had the time, put a like meter on, on the screen, see how it does.
I don't think you
I
have time for that.
like totally amazing. Yeah. Yeah. So how about the sport? Speaking of Big Brother, so Big Brother advertised their season this week, their new upcoming season, with an artificial intelligence type of ad. And I liked it, and I got some feedback on why'd you like it? It's Big Brother. But the funny thing is, you shared this with me. Survivor gave Big Brother some shade.
They
What
did.
did they say?
They
What
did.
did what did they say? They said something like "do your own thing" or something, like, or we would do something like this.
Yeah, they basically just took a cheap shot at him.
Woo! Two CBS shows going at it. Woo, boy. Yeah, so that's interesting. I am scared about this twist coming up because Circle did it. They had a AI bot thing, and I don't think Big Brother would have an AI house guest, because that would be, how would they do that even? But I think they're going to use AI and probably some twist or some way to do, I don't know. What, and if you read the like the responses to a lot of to that advertisement, most of the fans are like, please don't do it. I hope they listen. I mean, they should
It's
survey
probably
people
because
before they
most of them
decide this stuff.
saw, most of them probably saw the
The
circle.
circle, and it went. It would
It
have
just
been better if they
wasn't
continued
necessary.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they butchered using it. So if you're gonna use it, they should have used it further until it was outed. And we've seen it before, but who knows?
Eh.
Maybe they'll have a different twist to it.
It's interesting. So, and that's another thing I say. Interesting. But Julie is when Julie posted that, or Big Brother posted that, most of the fans were like, "You say this every year. You say it's going to be a year like no other. It's going to be." At some point, you actually have to make it a year like no other. I think at Survivor has done a good job of the hidden immunity idols, the walk that they do, the journey. There's been a number of things that Survivor has inputted the shorter season that have kind
The
of mixed it
broken
up.
glass rewinds.
Yeah, but for Big Brother, it's kind of been stale. Like you have you a couple of years ago you had Battle of the Block, but you have Head of Household, you have Veto. The Vito winner pulls himself off. Sometimes there's a twist involved with that. A couple seasons ago, they had the outdoor group of people that stayed outside. The two groups. Last year, they had the ultraverse, or whatever it was,
The
multiverse.
haves and the have-nots.
I just I I think they need an injection of creativity over there. They need somebody different to think of things to kind of mix it up. And I say all that to say I love the show. I will watch it still. I love Big Brother. I think the casting is perfect. It has been really good since um the current team took over. The casting is wonderful. So I'm hoping that, we see some good twists and something that really drives the game and drives the people that they've cast to do some really cool things. So we'll see.
And we're just a few weeks away.
We're a few weeks away from Big Brother. I mean, here we are. Well, we're almost in the end of June. Woo. Wow. Wow. So Big Brother, and the bigger thing that came out this week or last week is the first 3 episodes of The Boys. I love that show. you know, I was
It
thinking,
is wild.
yeah, I was thinking, why do I love this show so much? And why I love this show so much is because when you least expect it, some shit goes down. Like all of a sudden, someone is like, or lasers are coming out, or something is happening where you're like, what the? There was a scene in the third episode this week that it was a lot. It was a lot. Let's put it that way, if you know what I'm saying. A multiplication.
Yeah, it was.
um, I was like, what the heck is going on here? Um, it's good. It's good. It's the last season, so I want to see how kind of everything plays out. What are your thoughts?
It was a wild first few episodes, that's for sure. Um, anytime you think that they can't go another level, stop thinking that, because then they do. And
They
then
do.
yeah,
They do.
each season's had another moment where it's like, okay, why? Why?
They literally will push the boundaries. Like, and it's not all appropriate, let's put it that way.
That's why it's
There's
streaming.
some questionable
I don't
things
think
that
that could make
occurred that I will
prime
not talk
time
about it in this
network
show.
TV.
I will
I don't
I will
think you'll
not.
see CBS or NBC airing any of these.
So I will say this, and without really spoiling anything, because you kind of, if you watched last season, you know this already. Butcher is dying, and Butcher is dying because he injected himself with the superpower, and it's making him die. Is that basically?
The V, yeah.
Yeah, the V.
Compound V.
Thank you. Yes, Compound V. So he is dying. There's a storyline of right now he's in or he's out. And that's been like a recurring theme, honestly, throughout the whole show. Um, I of course uh how do I put this? Homelander is up to his usual stuff. Um, let's put it that way. There's a new character this year that is the smartest woman, smartest person. She corrects this, the smartest person on the planet. That character is interesting. I'm confused about
Sage.
her. Sage. I'm confused about Sage because say correct me if I'm wrong. Homelander is pretty conservative politically, I would say, the way they're writing him. And I think Sage is the opposite.
I think
Which
that's why. I think right now it's at the point where he has a bunch of yes men around and he's hating it.
yes.
He's hating it.
Yes.
So he finally wants someone who's going to challenge him a little bit. But he's still Homelander and doesn't want to be wrong either.
Right.
So it's going to be a fine line.
I have a theory.
Let's
I have
hear
a
it.
theory. So I think Sage is setting him up for his final fall. I think this is all a ruse. I think her plan is to totally get him. I think she has a hidden vendetta, something he did, and I think
I
that
like that theory.
her plan is to take him down. And by friending, remember, she's the smartest person on the planet. By friending him, she's working her way into that. So that's kind of where I'm seeing this season, the final season going. But we'll see
like
how that.
where your head's at.
And
There.
I think his son is going to play a huge part in that. I
He's
think
already had a very interesting first couple.
Can I just that was some throw. Okay, that's all I'll say.
That
Woo! That was like
that
I had
that
a
was
feeling,
his first save. His
dude.
first save.
I was like, well, when they were building up to it, I was like, oh, he's gonna do this to this, and it was absolutely right. I was like, oh yeah, there it
See
is.
it coming.
You can see it coming. I think flies get more dignity than that guy did, but that's beside the point. But yeah, so I'm looking for. I think more episodes drop tomorrow.
I think today.
Oh, today.
Wednesday.
Oh, see, I didn't watch. I didn't look. By the way, just for point of clarification and interest, season 2 of The Mole starts next week, I believe. That should be good. I think it's taking place in Thailand, I think, or no, I forget where. Malaysia. They said. The cast looks good. It should be yeah, it should be good. I'm curious to see kind of how they all mesh together. and see how it plays out in Malaysia. If you don't remember, season one, and I'm talking Netflix because The Mole's been on for a number of years. It was previously on ABC. It was hosted by Anderson Cooper, and then Ahmad Rashad hosted it for a couple of seasons. There was a celebrity version. But the Netflix incarnation this is season two we're going into. And season one took place in Australia, and season two takes place in Malaysia. The original Mole was kind of like the Amazing Race, where they basically took off and went to different countries. People got eliminated. It was a computer screen, not a phone. It's 2024, so now it's a phone that turned red. But now they kind of concentrate in one country, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There's some other shows also coming out.
The
Big
Bear.
Brother, The Bear, which
I
I
think
cannot wait.
a week from tomorrow, maybe.
So where do we leave off in the last season? The ending, he started his own fancy restaurant, right? They opened a fancy restaurant. Um, I'm sure there's going to
And
be some stuff to
the
do with that.
previews look ambitious for his goals.
Yeah.
One of the previews that he wanted to not have a repeat menu item. He wanted to have a new menu every day, and people like, new menu every day. Are you crazy?
But
they're trying to get a star.
Yeah, they want to be a Michelin. And I can see it not doing that eventually, right? Because look at how the show has evolved. They evolved from a sandwich shop, into like this high class restaurant. I want to see them succeed. Like you want to root for these characters. These characters
Definitely.
are, the brothers. They just they have their issues, but his head chef. I love her. You just want to root. I think that's why the show is so successful, because there are so many rootable characters in the show that are not perfect and are broken. Like most of us have some flaws, and to see that in these characters, and they kind of almost need each other, if for lack of a better word. I mean, I'm interested to see it. Quite opposite of the boys.
Yeah. And the
Very
boys is
different.
Thursday. So
The
when
boys
we said
Thursday.
today, we meant the date.
Yeah, because this episode is coming out on Thursday. Yep, you're
Yeah.
right.
And also one other correction. At some point, you might have said that it's the last season, but the boys, I think they said, is getting a fifth and final.
Oh, it is.
I believe there's two to go.
Oh, I like that. Okay. All right, I like that. So, um, I think you got something in the mail this week, didn't you?
Oh my goodness.
So
That's
Charlie,
one way to put it.
so I sent a large priority flat rate box to Charlie of cards, and so Charlie opens the box and he's like, "Oh, these are cool cards that you got." I'm like, "Those are just fillers," because literally, there's literally again. But when I was at the post office, I didn't have enough. There wasn't enough room for the last small white box, so I just ended up taking them out and putting them in. Sorry, but yeah.
No, that's
Ooh.
was crazy. That was absurd.
And that's not even a
Ladies and
drop of the
gentlemen,
bucket.
when he says cards, first of all, we're talking baseball cards.
Yes.
And we're not talking like run of the mill, like we're talking like autographed cards, game used cards, numbered cards, gold
Oh, you
cards.
looked at it?
I mean, there it was I don't understand.
Rookie cards. Rookie cards.
I simply just don't understand.
I think there's a Chris Bryant rookie card in there somewhere.
There were probably 10 of them. There were Bellingers. There were
Bellinger rookie cards.
It
was
because
you didn't collect Bellinger. He was a Dodger back then. 2017 was his rookie year with Judge. You didn't collect, and I think I put an Ohtani or two in there too. So yeah,
was
there you go.
Far too much.
Oh, dude, you're a good soul, and you deserve it. But honestly, it's not even. It's just a drop of the many cards I have. I literally have. I kid you not, right? So I'm in my organization space right now here. So I literally have. This is just a new box I started. These are all Mets cards, and I literally have boxes and boxes and boxes.
I have
of
zero, if
cards.
I have zero doubt because you sent me damn near 1,000. So
I did. Yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, even let me show you this. So
I
we're
maybe a
speaking
little
of.
hyperbole, maybe 500, but
No,
still,
it's a little hyperbole.
it was crazy.
Um, this is one of. I'm loyal, right? So you have Tom Seaver as a Red, Cincinnati Reds. So yeah, I mean, this is just one of like a ton of different like cards I have, or different. I mean, different. Here, let's. Or we got George Altman as a Met. There's a I think there's a 70 through 64 tops. It's a 64 tops. And then we have of course, my guy, Pete Alonso, rookie card. It's Allen and Ginter gold. And
Over
it's
under 50, Pete Alonso.
yeah, oh, I over.
Over
Ooh.
easily. Over under 100.
Wait. Are you talking autos? Just autos alone,
Just
it's over 50.
okay. So over
Yeah.
under like 200 total Alonso cards? Is that a good over under?
I would
Pretty
say I have
close.
about 1,000 Alonso cards. At least.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Just Pete Alonso. Yeah. And then, Jeff McNeil, who was rookie the same year. I have a decent Jeff McNeil collection. Yeah. You name it. You name
That's
it.
wild.
Where I know Cat will kind of knock that down. So put it down. Well, yeah, so there's a room full of cards that I'm starting to go through that your cards came from.
Are you
I
able to walk in this room?
Not yet, almost.
Like you're just like you can like kind of just move in
Yeah, I have
between
an
you
aisle.
maneuver in all the
Yeah,
cards.
yeah.
That's what I'm
You
picturing. Just an
there's at least
entire closet room of
so that box I sent you, there's at least four more of those boxes of just the Cubs. At least,
that's
I'm gonna
crazy.
say. And I'm not a Cubs fan.
That's what I know. That's what I'm saying. So you get like
So
a box and you get like,
what
a
I
bunch of
did,
every team.
what
Really
I
cool.
did, like in 2020, right? So I'm a collector, and I would like join card breaks because card breaks were really cheap back then before they became the thing that they are now. And if you don't know what a card break is, it's 30 buyers buy into a product, a case of something usually, and each gets assigned a team. Sometimes you buy your team, sometimes they're randomly assigned depending on the break. RT is a random team break, and a team break is you literally the breaker will price out the teams based on the players, the rookies, depending on the value of the cards, and they're not all even. And I always like to do random team breaks, so I got like I once did triple threads, which is a great tops product, and I did a random team break, and I got I'll play this back. I got randomed the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh,
I
I
kid you,
already know where this is
I
going.
kid you not. When I got it was $60 break. I bought in for $60. When I got random the Pittsburgh Pirates, I said a few choice words to myself because I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm getting the Pirates, and at the time, I don't even know who like was on the Pirates. It wasn't like anybody huge. I think the biggest player was Andrew. Oh, goodness gracious. You know what I'm talking about.
McCutcheon?
Who Yeah, McCutcheon was like it was like he was like the biggest player on the Pirates at the point. And I was like, oh, how many Andrew McCutcheon cards do I need? I'm not an Andrew McCutcheon collector. And so I was really upset. So they're going through the break, and they get, I don't know where they get in the break, the breaker, but he goes, oh, I got a book card. I'm like, oh, it's not going to be me because I don't even think there's any book cards in there. You know how I get.
And then it does it turn out to perhaps be one of the greatest players of all time?
One of the So, if you can think of the Pittsburgh Pirates, it's two of the greatest pirates of all time, without a doubt. If you can think of the greatest pirate of all time, your mind would most likely not go to Ralph Kiner, although he was great. It would go to a certain player that died pretty young,
Roberto Clemente.
Roberto Clemente. And they open up this thing and go, oh, I'm like, what's happening? They go, 1 of 1 cut auto, dual cut auto, Roberto Clemente. And I'm like, and Willie Stargell, who also is no bloke.
And then you're sitting there and you're like, wait a minute, he was on the
Wait.
Pirates.
And so the next thing I hear is 10. And I'm like, and then Do you have any idea what it was? A cut auto card. I end up taking that, and I regret doing this, but I kind of needed the money. I took that $60 break spot and turned it into like $2,500 because I sold the card. And I have it. I'll have to share it at some
Did
point.
you
I have a
get the
picture
rest
of
of the
it.
pirates
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well? Still,
Yeah, so yeah, bonus. I have a lot of
yeah.
McCutcheon. I was upset because I didn't get random the Mets, because I think at the time, I think it was 19. I think it was Pete Alonso's rookie year, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah,
So
I was a little
and today you'd have like 1,100 Pete Alonsos instead of
instead
1,000.
of 1,000, yes.
Worth
I
it,
did get
huh?
the Mets a lot, so I did, especially in 19, I went crazy on the products. Any Topps products in 19, and if I didn't hit him in a break, which means get the card, I would just buy him on eBay. And back then he wasn't, I mean, he's still a pretty not so expensive card to
Generally
get.
speaking, does one of those breaks come with every card in the set?
It does, except for a couple products. So if you have like a product like Bowman, and Bowman is a very base heavy product, not a lot of hits or numbered cards or autographs. Typically, the breakers will have something like a disclaimer on their website that says that those cards are not included. But typically speaking, yes, you would get all the cards, especially a product like Triple Threads, which is basically all numbered cards. They give you all the cards. And so I would I would buy up Pete Alonso. I had a thing in 2019. I would, buy some breaks. I would never, if you can imagine, the other two big rookies that year, it was three big rookies, but one kind of faded quickly. Eloy Jimenez was a big rookie that year. And also Fernando Tatis Jr. was a big rookie that year. And Vladdy Jr., who still is a big player, was a big rookie that year. So
As is
that was the
Tatis.
chase. Yeah. So the Padres and the Blue Jays were the chase teams, really, and the Mets to some extent. But yeah, I mean, and Tatis then went ahead and did some dermatological mistakes, and unfortunately, kind of his market went blue. That's what happens. Speaking of, Barry Bonds and substances, and so once a player is tarnished with that type of thing, their value typically will go down, and it's
Interesting.
very hard to recover that. So the Tatis market was red hot. Another player of recent mind that happened to, of course, was Wander Franco, also red hot. Um, I mean, who wants to collect that? I mean,
Yeah.
so that hurts the market. Um, so yeah, that's my hobby. That's kind of what I collect. And your Cubs collection is now a little bit of raised too. Is
A
a
lot of
little,
it.
is a little bit, but yeah. So
Very,
yeah,
very much appreciated.
my pleasure,
And
bro.
and
My pleasure.
unnecessary.
It's necessary. What else am I gonna have? I need to have room. So there. I was gonna bring them with me.
You can
You
get
see
another
why
you get another 500 Pete's.
by the time I get to August, you'll probably have a bunch more. But that's why I didn't want so I didn't want to bring them with me because it was too much. Like no way.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, it's busy week. We have another busy week next week, and yeah, it's fun times.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll be
we'll we'll update on the goat and the boys again. They'll have new episodes, and then I don't know, depending on how you're feeling, we could do it a couple days later and binge the bear.
Oh, we'll do it.
But
No problem.
maybe we'll wait. We don't want to spoil it for people.
Okay, we can wait too.
We'll
We, we,
we'll
we-
we'll we'll
we'll
think
play it
about
by
it.
ear.
We'll think
Yeah.
about it.
All right. This has been Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host.
Charlie Seymour.
And I'm Tim Sternberg. We'll see you next week with another fun episode. Please remember to subscribe and like our podcast on whatever podcast app that you get it. So if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please subscribe to our podcast, like our podcast. That's how we kind of grow. And we are trying to grow this. So thank you so much. And until next week, bye, everybody.